All eyes remain on Russia, Ukraine, Putin, Zelenskyy. What is next? Jared Halpern, Fox News Radio, has been on it for the team there over the last several days. Jared, good morning. It's great to have you here. What is the sentiment of the White House coming out of yesterday's big meetings?
They're still hopeful that they can reach not a ceasefire anymore, which is a notable backtrack from President Trump, but trying to reach a full end to this war. President Trump yesterday offered an awful lot of support for this European idea of an almost Article 5-like security guarantee for Ukraine. President Trump says that would be front-loaded by Europe and their military forces, but certainly supported and helped out by the U.S. Notably, he says that he does not believe that President Putin would have a problem with that arrangement, but also this morning in an interview on Fox and Friends said, but you never know. We're going to find out about President Putin in the next couple of weeks. That I can tell you.
So last night I saw after the Trump-Zelenskyy meeting, Putin did launch some missiles into Ukraine. How is the White House reading into that?
They're not. I mean, the White House generally doesn't respond on an hour-by-hour update. Going into Alaska, and I was on Air Force One, the president came back, spoke to us, and that question was asked. Listen, Mr. President, as we're flying into Alaska, just last night there was an increase in drone attacks and missile attacks by Russia. What do you make of it? And he kind of said, well, this could just be a negotiation tactic. Putin thinks that it strengthens his hand. It puts him in a stronger place. I think it makes him weaker. But that was kind of how he discussed it, was the idea that perhaps this is tied to, a negotiation tactic. But he has also said that it is why he wants to end this war. Now, European leaders, if there was any daylight between President Trump and the European leaders who were here yesterday, it was on the issue of a ceasefire. President Trump for weeks has been saying he wants a ceasefire. He wants Putin to agree to a ceasefire. If there's not a ceasefire, Russia would face severe consequences. Following Friday's meeting with Putin, he backed away from that and says that he now does not think that there needs to be a ceasefire as an end to the war is being negotiated. Yesterday, sitting around that table with President Trump, most of those European leaders said that they do want to see an immediate ceasefire, in part because it obviously ends the violence while this is being negotiated. But two, European leaders view that as kind of a signal about how serious Putin is about negotiating an end to the war.
Jared Halpern, Fox News Radio here on KCMO. Now, were you in the White House yesterday, Jared, when all this was going down, or no?
Yes.
Okay, so you were there
almost every day.
Okay, all right. I know you're there every day. I didn't know how tight it was yesterday, if you could fit your way in. So that's great. I want to ask you then, the reaction to Zelenskyy showing up in the suit, how was that?
I mean, the president seemed to appreciate it, right? Now, let me be clear. The reason that meeting 6 months ago blew up was not because of Zelensky's attire. I know that was kind of a side story on it, but that meeting was going sideways before anybody pointed out what the president of Ukraine was wearing. Now, that being said, Europeans, others had kind of advised Zelenskyy, let's make a good impression. The president said that he thought he looked good. The reporter, who was the same one who asked about the suit last time, was in the room yesterday and said, you look great. And then Zelenskyy kind of ripped him and said, well, I'm wearing a different suit. You're wearing the same one.
Yeah.
What's up with that? So everybody, I think, had a good laugh about it. Perhaps it is now water under the bridge. But as somebody who covered that first meeting back in February, I think that meeting was going to end the way that it ended, regardless of what Zelenskyy was wearing that day.
Yeah, that's fair. All right.
There were some other issues at play.
Yeah, absolutely. So you look now, at how the meeting ended yesterday, and, there's multiple photos of the president with his arm around Zelenskyy.
Yeah.
It's just a very different feel, a very different vibe. So what is the next?
I mean, the question is that's the question, right? So as the European leaders, Zelenskyy was here yesterday. President Trump in the Oval Office called Vladimir Putin on the phone. He had said, sitting down with Zelenskyy, actually, Putin's expecting my call. I'm going to call him. He wants a meeting between Zelenskyy and Putin, and he wants the two of them to meet on their own and then have a follow-up trilateral meeting that would also include President Trump. Zelenskyy says fine, anytime, any place. He has been wanting to meet with Putin essentially since the invasion began more than 3 years ago. Following that announcement by President Trump that he wants Zelenskyy and Putin to meet, the Kremlin put out a statement that was a little bit less robust. It essentially said that they were considering and negotiating having sort of higher delegations, right? They have kind of met at low to medium level negotiation sessions. All of the talks that have happened, and there haven't been a lot, but all of them that have happened between Ukraine and Russia have not been like high level talks. Russia has said that they're open to more high level talks, but stopped short of saying that Putin would participate in those.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. So that's where things are at right now. I know Caroline Leavitt, is going to have a press briefing today. That'll be at 12 o'clock Central Time. What are you expecting? I assume this will be a big part of that press briefing today. What else are you hoping to come out of that?
I think obviously there'll be a lot of questions about that. I think there are still questions about what this security guarantee for Ukraine looks like, how it would be implemented, what the U.S. role in a security guarantee would look like, why that security guarantee is not essentially NATO membership for Ukraine. So I expect a lot of questions about that. And I think there's going to be questions domestically as well. I mean, here in Washington, D.C., the Metropolitan Police Department remains under the control of the federal government. Several states are now sending in National Guard troops as part of President Trump's crime initiative here in D.C. It is raising questions as well. So I think we'll have a robust and a spirited session with the press secretary later this afternoon.
All right. Jared Halpern, Fox News Radio, does a great job. Jared, thanks for joining us on KCMO. Have a great day. There you go. Thank you very much to Jared Halpern, Fox News.